Hey everybody, I am Kristen Orlando. I am a young adult author and the author of these three books behind me. My first book is You Don't Know My Name. The second book in this series is You Won't Know I'm Gone. And the last book in this series is called You Won't See Me Coming. The series is called the Black Angel Chronicles. The first book, it is about a 16-year-old girl named Reagan Elizabeth Hillis, who is the daughter of these two top secret spies in this underground group in the CIA called the Black Angels. And the Black Angels they're the people that get called upon to take down drug lords, break up terror plots. They're the people who go in secretly and take care of all kinds of things that America doesn't even know is happening. And a lot of people within the own government doesn't even know is happening. They're very, very highly trained, highly skilled spies, assassins, just incredibly intelligent, strong, brave people. And she is the daughter of two Black Angels. And she is trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life because she's been training her entire life to be a Black Angel. The children of Black Angels usually become Black Angels. And it's a legacy that's almost never broken. But she is now living in New Albany, Ohio. She's getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to train and trains after school. And she does Krav Maga and runs 10 miles every day and is so strong and so fit and developing all kinds of different special skills, speaking all kinds of different languages. She's very talented. She's finally found a group of friends that she loves. She's kind of starting to fall for the boy next door and really is thinking about, okay, do I want this dangerous double life? Like, what would it be like to just be a normal girl? And she's finally gotten the chance to be normal, thanks to her friends and thanks to the love interest in the book, Luke, the boy next door. And she just doesn't know, is this for me? Do I even want to do this? Am I doing this? This is my life, and how am I going to do something for the rest of my life that I don't really want to do? Even though she has a choice, technically all Black Angel children have the choice of going to college and living a normal life, getting out of the Black Angels, or following in their parents' footsteps, joining the academy, training to become a real Black Angel spy. She's just really torn because she's expected to do it. She's one of the most talented recruits. Everyone has their eyes on her. Everybody's watching everything she does. And she just knows she has this huge amount of pressure to follow in her parents' footsteps. And she doesn't really want to do it anymore. And so she's really torn apart about that. It's funny because the first book takes place in 1 week. So you see her in high school, you see her having fun with her friends, you see her really torn apart about what she wants to do with her life. And then something happens in the middle that she is forced to use all of her skills to go and save somebody. So she's really has to kick her Black Angel training into high gear and put it to use. It's about a lot of different things. It's about family drama, living for yourself, finding your own voice, finding what you want to be in life. It's a coming of age story, but kind of with a higher concept of this dangerous double life that she has to choose. I wrote the book because I myself, as a teenager, my parents were not spies, but my parents are both in medicine, wanted me to follow in their footsteps. They wanted me to be a doctor. And I had started to go down that path. But every time I thought about the life that my family wanted for me, it would make me physically ill. Like I would feel sick to my stomach. And so I thought, this is my life. Like I have to live it for myself. And so I wanted to kind of write a book that was about that, about trying to not disappoint your family, but figure out what you truly want to do with your life, because you only get one life and you have to live for yourself. So I wanted to kind of tap into those feelings and of it that I think a lot of teenagers go through, that they're just thinking, gosh, I have all this pressure on me to be a certain person or do a certain thing or look a certain way or act a certain way. And I just want to do what I want to do. So I thought that that was a really important and interesting thing to write about. And I hope that you guys get a chance to read it and like it. I'd love to hear what you think. What was the inspiration for the book in turning a teenage girl into an empowered spy? So the inspiration struck me, no joke, in the shower. I think all good ideas come in the shower. I had just watched the movie Red. It's about these retired super high level spies from MI6 and CIA, and there's assassins after them. And when I was in the shower, I was thinking to myself, gosh, what would it be like to be the daughter of one of these spies? Like, what a crazy life that would be, to always be a little bit in danger. And then I thought to myself, oh my gosh, that's the book I've been wanting to write. I had been wanting to write a young adult book for a while. And as soon as I thought of that idea, it just was like a bolt of lightning. Everything started coming into my brain. I think I even came up with the name, the Black Angel Chronicles, like in the shower. It ran to the other room where my husband was and was like, oh my gosh, I have it. And I told him the story and what I was thinking, and he immediately said, that sounds great. Like, you should write that. The other question that was asked of me was, did I know the ending of the first book? And I did. It's crazy how sometimes book inspiration comes to you. It sometimes comes in pieces. Sometimes it comes very fully formed. This was one of those rare cases where it came very fully formed. So before I even wrote the first word, I knew exactly how I wanted the first book to end. The ending is a bit of a cliffhanger. Something pretty dramatic happens. It's a pretty big twist. And it helps to launch the rest of the series, which is about Reagan trying to come to terms with some things that have happened and still figuring out what she wants to do with her life. So one of the other questions is, how did I create a kick-ass teenage character, and what was that process and what inspired me? So again, drawing upon my own background and coming of age story and figuring out who I was, I tapped into those feelings a lot. I really tried to go back to being 17 when I had all this pressure on me to go to school pre-med, and I did. I actually went to school a biology major and was sitting in class going, oh my God, I hate this so much. Like, this is not what I want to do with my life. I want to be a writer. I want to do something creative. So I had to really go back and put myself in that position again and think about, what did I feel like at that age? What was that feeling like? And I remember this sort of like almost knot and nausea in your gut and like this heaviness on your chest at realizing you were trying to live a life you didn't want to live and want to live it for somebody else. That's such a strong feeling, whether it's like figuring out what you want to do with your life, figuring out maybe sexuality, figuring out who you are as a person. I think there's so many things you're trying to figure out when you're a teenager and coming into your own and feeling good in your own skin. There's so many things that get to be explored. And I think there's a lot of pressure to fit into a certain group or fit into a certain attitude or a personality type or a career, or there's just so many different pressures, I think, on teenagers to be a certain way. And I really tried to tap into kind of my experience with that and what that felt like and explore that with Reagan, because I just thought that was an interesting thing to go down to. So I did. I really tried to think about what I was like at 17, read some old diaries, and there's parts of Reagan in me, and then Reagan is really the person in a lot of ways I wish I was. She's a people pleaser in the first book. She is very strong, very brave, and I just love her personality, and it was so fun to create her. And sometimes I would write things that I wish I had said or wish I had done as a teenager. And I just really wanted to create a strong, kick-ass chick that people could look up to and think, gosh, I want to be like her. I want to be like Reagan. I want to be brave. You don't have to necessarily go off and like be an assassin or anything like that, but hopefully she's somebody that people aspire to be, because not only is she brave and smart and strong, she's funny and interesting, and also she is someone who always does the right thing. And I look up to Reagan, so I wish I was more, I try to be more like Reagan. What is the weirdest thing I had to research for this book? I had to tell my friends, like, I'm doing some really weird searches, so in case like something ever happens and I'm ever arrested and like they look at my Google search history, like they can know that I did not do any of these things. I was doing research for a book. I've seen enough Datelines and enough like Forensic Files episodes where they pull people's hard drives and you find some weird stuff. I don't want anyone to ever think I was looking up stuff for anything other than a book. So I had to do weird stuff like look up the color of blood when it's dried, the color of blood when it's coming out of your body. Like, I really am big on describing things very very accurately. I actually went and even learned, even though I hate guns, obviously she's a spy, she has a gun. So I went and learned how to shoot because I wanted to be able to accurately describe that feeling when I pulled the trigger, what that kickback felt like. I almost consider myself like there's method acting. I almost feel like I'm like a method writer where I like very much put myself in their shoes, in their brain space, in their body to write it accurately. I want it to feel real. So probably what's the color of blood when it's dried is one of my weird searches. I also looked up like how to hotwire a car, a ton of stuff about guns, like so many weird searches. So hopefully none of those ever come back to haunt me. So one of the questions is that Reagan is a rare female lead in an action novel. And what would Reagan say to encourage girls in these books? So Reagan, I think, would just tell girls everywhere to be brave in making the right choices and standing up for what's right. Doing the right thing can feel really hard and it can feel very isolating and it can feel, but try to always do the right thing. Try to always stick up for people who maybe need help and try to put yourself in other people's shoes to help someone. So I think that's a really powerful message. It's something I'm trying to teach my own daughter is we live in a world where not everyone has the same equal voice. And I really want her to always do the right thing, stand up for the right thing and hold the hand of someone who doesn't have as powerful of a voice as you or is a voice that's not heard and say, I will do this with you. I will stand up with you and I will fight for you. So I think that's what Reagan would want people to know. So the next question is about my author journey. I have always loved writing and reading, like always been a huge reader since I was a little girl. I'd always be up in my room reading a million books. I just really fell in love with words and storytelling. Like as a little kid, even before I could read, I was big into imagining things. I had a huge imagination. I would spend hours in my room imagining different stories, like being a princess or being trapped on a raft in the ocean, or I don't know, just so many different things I would do. I really became a writer with my cousins, actually. I'm the oldest cousin, so I would write plays for my cousins all the time. Every time we would get together as a family, I would create these plays that I would write and we'd all act out. And they were all these, funny original plays that I think my parents still have on VHS tape somewhere. But it really started with storytelling. And I went to a nearby college and took a playwriting class, or just because I wanted to learn writing. I loved dialogue so much. In college, after I changed my major and was more writing focused, I took screenwriting classes, playwriting classes, creative fiction writing classes, and just did nothing but write in college. I loved it so much. And then for my first job, I was a TV producer. So again, it was all about writing for the ear. I always wanted to write a book. When I was 21, 22, I was still just didn't have the life experience to write like a great book. I wrote some short stories and I would practice my writing. I always was writing, but I didn't have a solid book idea until You Don't Know My Name. Just anything creative really inspired me. Poetry, art, movies, plays. I just took everything I could in. I feel very lucky that I'm able to do this. The first time I ever saw my book with my name on it, when I first saw that, that's all I ever wanted, was to have a book that I wrote get published and be on a bookshelf and be out in the world and for people to read a story that was once in my head on paper. It's still beyond crazy to me that I can do that and that people read the words that I wrote. So for as far as advice for young authors and readers is read as much as you can and read as many different things as you can. Read plays, read scripts, read nonfiction, read fictions, just explore all the different types of writing and writing styles. Then as far as actually writing is do it. I know a lot of people are like, I don't know how to get a book started. So whatever's in your head, put it on paper. There's no perfect way to start a book. My process is very I like to outline. I'm an outliner. I'm not a pantser. I know there's plotters or pantsers. I'm not a pantser. I wish I was. I wish I could just figure it out as I wrote. I very much outline. So I sit down, I have an idea for a book. I have kind of that log line, it's called, in your head, where it's like, what is the book about in one sentence? And then from there, I just build. I just very deep dive. on the characters, right down to like, what's the state of their shoes? I think different questions like that, they're called character templates. They're really helpful. They ask you so many questions that then give you insight into who your character is. So, the state of their shoes. Do they have pristine shoes that are always look perfect and they buy new shoes in the same pair every 6 months because they don't want to get them dirty? Or are they got, scuff marks and they just don't, whatever. Like give you some really good insights into their attitude and their passions and their interests just from little questions like that. So I do a lot of discovery and outlining before I start writing. So I think do whatever feels right to you and just go for it. The publishing industry, it's a tough business, and I feel very, very lucky that I have these books, but it was a hard road to get there. It was not an overnight. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of, for me, life experience. So really write for the love of it. I love writing. I love storytelling. So I went into it with just a very pure heart of just, I'm going to do this for me. It's a nice creative outlet. It's something fun for me to do. And if something happens, awesome. And if something doesn't happen, that's okay too. So I think if you go into it without expectations and just doing it for yourself, then you set yourself up for success. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk with all of you today. It was such a thrill. Always great to connect with young readers. You're my favorite people to talk to. So again, my name's Kristen Orlando. My books are You Don't Know My Name, You Won't Know I'm Gone, and You Won't See Me Coming. So I hope that you guys get a chance to read them, and let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you. My website is kristenorlando.com. You can drop me an email there, and I'd love to hear from you. And as soon as we're out of this pandemic, love to do more author events and signings and meet with you guys, and maybe even do a book club or something like that. I love connecting with teenage readers. So I write these books for you guys. Can't wait to meet you. And thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Stay healthy, stay safe. Keep reading, keep writing.